Hello again, Dustin Davis here for Building Envelope Budget. I'm out for a pretty late walk. I'm starting at 10:30. Been on the computer all night. Made some progress, I think. I decided to go with Flowbite and Tailwind CSS just because I like the default styles that Flowbite gives you. And I have built another site using Flowbite earlier this year, so I was a little more familiar with it. And I like that they give you blocks like right out of the box, and they're interactive, so that you've got the light and dark theme for night and day. My phone and my computer automatically switch between light and dark depending on the time of day, so it's kind of fun. I think it's just a nice, cool feature. So Flowbite it is, and it is MIT license. So, and I think it looks great. I've put out some, or I've created just kind of a skeleton of the page. I've got the sidebar with all my accounts kind of put in there, and now I'm just getting started on the main content area for envelopes and categories. So that's where I'm at. And to circle back around to what I talked about in the previous episode about going with HTMX versus Alpine JS or Alpine JS. Actually ran across an article that they work very well together, and they kind of have different use cases. So I'll most likely use both of those. They're very small libraries. Um, so HTMX is basically allowing you to make AJAX calls without needing any JavaScript, which is cool. You may or may not use it, but I'll throw it in there. It's only 14. It's only a 14K library, and I'm sure I'll find uses for it. And Alpine JS haven't really done anything yet with the application as far as like putting in actual data. Like I said, I'm just building out the skeleton. So once I get going, I'm sure I'll find uses for Alpine JS as well. I guess I've been doing single page applications for so long now. I'm a little bit nervous about page load times, and doing full page refreshes when you go to certain areas. So it's going to be an interesting balance between, when do I just rewrite portions of the page with APIs and Ajax or whatever, and when do I do full page refreshes. The one thing I do like about the full page refreshes versus the single page apps is some of these single page applications get really big, and it takes forever for the initial load. Once you load the app, everything is fast and snappy, but that initial load can take quite a while as it downloads and loads everything you need. Our application at work is a good example of that. There's some waiting icons. You kind of get used to them after a while. I noticed there's another budgeting app out there that's really popular. I won't mention names, but I believe they use Ember, and to me it's so slow. I think that's one of the biggest frustrations I've had trying to use their application, is that initial load just takes forever. And they've done some things to try to make it a little more fun on that loading screen, but if I can avoid that, I would prefer to and just get right into budgeting. And even with the old version of Envelope Budget, that's what I like about it. I go to the page, it remembers my login, and I'm just there. The page load happens in milliseconds almost. So I've never actually measured it, but that's what it feels like. It's a very quick load compared to some of the single page apps out there. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to think if I have any other updates. We got Thanksgiving weekend coming up, and so I probably won't do much on the site over the weekend. I may or may not. It just depends on what I've got going on. Obviously, on Thanksgiving I'll be helping out and I'll be with family all day, so I don't expect to make much progress. But today felt really good. Kind of been stuck in this analysis paralysis mode of trying to figure out which libraries to use, which front end framework to use, trying to figure out Bootstrap. And yeah, today I basically just gave up on Bootstrap and said I'm just going to go back to Flowbite. I actually had Flowbite up and running, but I'll be honest, I'm not really a fan of putting so many classes in. But once I got going with it, I think, with where most of it's going to be rendered with the template or with JavaScript, you're basically creating patterns that'll be reused anyway, so probably not as bad as I think it is. If you're like doing a lot of copying, pasting, and building out just plain HTML, it's kind of a pain. But I think if you're generating your HTML with code, I don't think it's that bad. So that's the direction I'm going to go, and hopefully people can pick it up. I think Flowbite and Tailwind have really good documentation as well. One thing I'm still kind of trying to figure out as I go along is what parts are Flowbite and what parts are Tailwind, because that's kind of how it was when I learned Django. I didn't really know, as far as like when I had a question, I didn't know if this is a Python question or this is a Django question, if that makes sense. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, where Flowbite ends and when I go to Tailwind docs when I want to figure something out. But I'm sure I'll pick it up as I go along. And so if anyone wants to help, if anyone is really into design and wants to help build out the designs, let me know, and I still haven't pushed it up to GitHub yet. I haven't felt like I've gotten it far enough along to even put it out there for open source yet, but that's another thing on my to-do list. I am committing things with just locally with Git, just because it makes it easier if I ever want to try something out on a branch, and if I don't like it, I can just totally wipe it out and go back to the main branch. So it's nice to have that version control to just play with things as you're getting started. So yeah, that's the latest update. Shoot me an email, or I think this whatever podcast platform has. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't listened to podcasts in a long time because I listen to audiobooks a lot. About 3 years ago, I saw someone post on Facebook, a friend of mine, that he read 52 books in 52 weeks. And I thought, I've always had a goal to read one nonfiction book per month, and I don't always hit it. Some months I only get like 4 or 5 books in. But I thought, wow, that's a big, hairy, audacious goal for me, someone who doesn't really like reading, and I don't really have a commute anymore since I work from home, so I don't take the time to listen to many books. But for the past 3 years, I've gotten, well, I'm going on my 3rd year. We're nearing the end here pretty soon. I think I only have a few weeks left to finish I'm a little bit behind. I think I'm about 4 books behind, so I probably have about, what is that, 4 times 12 books to read before the end of the year. So maybe I'll be doing that over the holiday weekend. But if I do that, that'll be 156 books in 156 weeks. And really, like, I've learned a lot. All these books that I've had on my reading list, like the things I want to read or listen to, I've been able to get to them because I'm constantly looking for new things to read. And all those books that I said, I need to read that again, I'm actually reading those books again. So I'm getting a lot out of it. And so that's kind of why I don't listen to podcasts. I don't know what features are out there Uh, but I assume you can leave ratings or comments, and I'll try to reply to those if that's the case. Otherwise, you can hit me up on Twitter at Envelope Budget or Facebook, whatever your favorite social media platform is, and I'll try to answer any questions. And if you just want to help out, let me know, and I'll get it pushed up to GitHub, and you can pull it down and give it a try. So, yeah, feel free to reach out to me, and thanks for listening. Bye.